Hello everyone, I'm Steven, head technician at Bellator CyberGuard. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the NinjaOne application. It's an RMM tool, remote monitoring and management tool. Really just helps you manage all of your devices and has a lot of cool features. So we'll be taking a look through the platform and what it has to offer. Okay, so let's get started with the Get Started page. On this page, you can see all the different little helpful tips and videos for some basic actions to take. Usually on the Get Started page, I just use this little add icon. You can add all of these different things. For the most part, I just use the device, organization, maybe policy. Ticketing stuff and reporting, I would usually do in administration. Same with user, because you would do it under an organization. But you can do all of that here as well. So we'll look at the device first, say computer, 3 different types of computer or operating systems. Pick your organization, location, and then you would just generate the installer. And then to add Ninja to the device, you would have to get this installer link to the other device. So you just send the link and it'll automatically install. Very simple. As far as add an organization, you can see all the different options here for starting an organization. You have the name, description, how often alerting is. There's a little sys-tray icon for logging tickets. A lot of these you can't really see until you save the organization, but these are all the different options you have. How the device gets added, if it's automatic or you have to manually accept it or just reject all of them. What policies for what type of device, so you can set up. If it's a Windows desktop or laptop, maybe use the Windows policy. With Mac, whatever type of device, what policy you want for that type of device. If you have TeamViewer enabled, splash top, what your backup plan is, any end users, patching settings, and there's documentation and contact stuff. See, adding a policy. So doing it from here, you would just add the policy, hit save. So then I'll show you from administration, once you create it, what the actual options are here. So any conditions to get alerted, to notify technicians, what those are. Any scheduled scripts, if you add scripts to this, so you can add, say, whatever the name is, what the script is, what action to take in what situation. Any Windows patching, so this will obviously be different. If this was a Mac policy, it would have Mac patches, etc. What time they run, how often, what gets approved, what automatically, what doesn't. Any antivirus, we use a third-party antivirus, so we don't really use this, but you have this option. Activities, software, patching as well. You just hit enable and then you can select all the different products. We can take a look at the products they offer software patches for. Just scroll through slowly if anybody wants to check these out. There's quite a few. It's a good amount. And again, backups, what the backup plan. So you can add a plan to the policy. Just add plan. Give it a name, time it runs, how many revisions you have, and how long it keeps them, what the destination is. We usually just save to the cloud, have the folders, and then you can include or exclude folders. There's also this nice little comment, so if a lot of the time you might just be using these, so you just pick the profile and desktop, or you can say the actual folder path. Okay, let's discard this. So we'll go back. I think that's everything for Get Started. We can take a look at the dashboard. So from here, right away, you'll see all of your organizations. Anything green just means there's a device in the organization that is online currently. So anything that's gray just means there is no device in the organization currently online and like connected to the internet. From here, you can see like your patching overview, backup overviews, activities, knowledge base. Let's take a look at the knowledge base. This is where you would keep like all your base documents. You can see all your different activities, backup overview, how much is getting used, if anything's failed or has warnings, anything's currently running, your patching overview, and go back to overview. So now if we select from the dashboard a specific organization, we'll see, you can see these are all mine. You have a few more options, so you can then pick a specific device. So we'll go into one specific device and you can see everything about it, everything that's been going on with it, kind of what percentages your usage is at, with details. In details, you get a more specific look at everything. In settings, you can see what overrides you have. So you can see in this policy for this device, I have specific overrides just for this device, which is nice. So if you want maybe a different backup plan for a specific device, that's usually what I'll use it for on just about every device, because most devices have different folders they want to back up. So you can just come here and pick specifically which. You would just hit edit here, go to backups, and you can see you can add a whole new one, or you can change the one here. So if I'm currently using this one, if I just wanted to change this, just go to folders and pick the folders I want instead, and then you'll see it would show overridden, and it kind of gives you that warning. Another thing from back here or within the organization that's very useful is the documentation tab. So if we go back to just the organization and go to documentation, apps and services, you can see this one that we're currently using. So we have a token here. This is for a script to install Sentinel-1. So when we add a new device in the policy, we have a script that runs automatically, and then it looks to the token within the organization that's added within the documentation. So in this organization, there's this token added to the documentation, so that script knows to use this token for any devices in this organization. That's really nice. So if you need to organize the same script run for every organization, say, but there's a variable that changes organization to organization, then it's technically not the exact same script, right? So you can you still use the same script, but have one of those variables set in the documentation that changes from organization to organization. I hope that makes sense. It's a very useful thing. It makes it a lot more efficient than having a different script for every organization. Would be kind of a nightmare. It's also custom fields. You can use ticketing. You can look at all the tickets that exist for the organization. That's the general overview of the dashboard. We'll go take a look at the administration tab. So this is where you spend probably the majority of your time. You have a lot of different settings and things to do in here. So these are general settings. Obviously branding. This is really nice. You you have like a branded site for users to visit and log their tickets. There's limited functionality for them, obviously, but you can provide them a white labeled site that they can visit. And if they have a lot of devices, you maybe have one user for them to manage all of their tickets for all their different devices. Your logo, the different logos, depending on what part of the site it is. You have a couple different themes to pick from. Let's go to, we can look at the apps. These are several of the apps that you can use if you like to. You can also add many more. There's several here that can be added as well. Ninja's always adding new things. The API function, if you're using API keys to communicate with other applications. Their API system is very simple to use, actually. It's very intuitive, which is nice. In the libraries, where you'll do all of your scripting. So there are a lot of native scripts that exist that just come native to Ninja that are very useful. There's plenty of different ones you can organize by, say, operating system. See all the Windows ones. And then, of course, you can make your own. So if we just go to add new script, see, this is what it'll look like. Here's where your code will go. The different languages are as shown here: Batch, JavaScript, PowerShell, Shell Script, Visual Basic. All the categories you can design yourself just for organizational purposes. A couple of them come native to Ninja. I added a couple too, like in progress ones I'm working on. You can create these, whatever makes sense for you. I have onboarding ones, maintenance ones. You just make the name, description, and add variables. Pick the architecture for the device you're going to run it on. It forces you to set something for all of these. So anything with a star, you can see, is required before you save the script. Okay, we'll just go to organizations here. Just to make changes to any of your organizations, you can click here, and then you can change that organization once it's created. Obviously, anything you originally set. So earlier we saw that you couldn't see some of these options until you saved. So now you can see kind of more what's here. Pretty straightforward. I usually keep the organization pretty basic and then update the policy and override the policies for the devices. It just seems to be easier for our use case. It depends obviously on your kind of business needs, what will make sense to you. But I try to keep the organization settings pretty simple and then get more specific within the policy and then the overrides to the policy per device. Where I need to, because for us it's usually device by device, or it has different different needs. Policies, before this, you can edit the policies here, add anything you'd like, all the different types of policies, and then we'll get into reporting. So the reporting features very nice. There are some things I don't love about it at the same time, but for the most part, it's pretty great. So we can look. I have an example template. I think it's best to work from templates rather than create new reports all the time, and you'll see why. So if we do create a new report, say an organization, you have different types of reports you can make. So these are your different types, and they're fixed to what's included in the type of report. You can't add to them. If you want parts of the executive summary and parts of the regular report and parts of the asset summary, you'd have to do a custom report. But if you just do regular, you're going to be limited to these. See, there's nothing to add. You're going to be limited to what's here. Now you can remove sections. So if you just want to take things away, that's no problem, right? So I can take away a bunch of these and then I'll have them to add back. But if I want to combine parts of different reports, it's a whole nother process. So I would do custom. If I want to do that, I would do custom. Go to all the sections, and now you can see it's kind of small, but you see regular. These are all the regular sections, the executive summary sections, asset summary. So I'd have to add each one, and it's just like not very nice. It would be nice if you could do like just add regular, all the regular ones, right? But no, I have to pick each and every single one. So that's a pain to me. I think that's kind of silly. But that's why I mentioned I use a template usually. So you only have to build this once. If you're smart, you'll save the template, then copy. So I'll show you with the template. Let's discard this. Then I'll just copy, right, my template. Make a new name. This will be, YouTube video report. I'll pick the organization, who to send the information to, any emails to get alerted, all this fun stuff, how often it gets sent, if you want to do it daily, weekly, monthly. Never send it anywhere, but you will see it in the dashboard in the previous screen. So you'll be able to view the report. It just will never get sent anywhere. Anywhere again. It will get sent, I guess, the first time. But anyway, the point was with the template. So now you can see I already have this selected of everything I want in this template, right? So now all I would have to do is add or remove, and I already have something to work with at least, rather than with the new report add each section again in the time that takes. Other than that, that's really the only pain. So you do kind of just need to be aware of that and creating the templates. If you have a whole bunch of different custom reports, it can be time consuming. But if you set yourself up well and have templates to work off of, then you don't have to do it more than the first time at least, hopefully. Okay. So lastly, we'll take a look at the ticketing section. So I made a little sample ticket here. So this comes in, this is how it comes in brand new. I haven't interacted with it at all, so this is what a ticket will look like. As soon as it comes in, the client maybe used their little sys-tray icon and logged a ticket. So it'll come in new, unassigned. Then from here, you would assign it to someone, so you can assign it to yourself. Pick a priority, severity, add any tags. Anybody you might want to CC, different people, emails, and users, you can CC on it as well to have other people interact and have it in their ticketing queue. Can change the status manually if you'd like. I will show you then the settings to kind of automate some of this. So we have it set up that once there's a response, I believe it's once there's a response, then the status automatically changes. And then if there isn't a response to that response within 10 minutes or something, it goes to the waiting status. So you can automate to be able to see, for it to have a status of what makes sense. So obviously waiting means you're waiting for a reply from the end user. Obviously closed or resolved as well. There is a closed status. Closed comes 24 hours after changing it to resolved with no additional changes to the ticket. That one you don't have a whole lot of control over, but other than just don't set it to resolved until it's resolved. But once it's closed, you can't edit it either. You'd have to have a new one. It kind of just gets archived. Different types. You have public and private response, right? So obviously the private note will just show to the user. So if I'm taking notes on, notes about the device and issue, then I'll publish this and it'll just get saved here and the end user won't see that. Then the public response will be like, hello, end user, right? This is going to be more of an email to them. They will get the email. They'll see the response in their personal version of the RMM ticketing service if they access that. Most of them, 99% of the time, they just interact through email. But this will be an email to the end user, right? If you publish that, it gets emailed and sent. There is this timer of how long it's left if you want to use that. I'm sure there's use cases for that. You have basic information. You can see how when the ticket was sent, there is a way to set up, I'll show you in the settings, that all this information comes. You don't need to have all this information come, but you can set it up so that you get all of this default information with the ticket. Now, obviously, the end user when I submitted this ticket, I didn't type in any of this, right? It was all just automatically sent. The only thing I actually typed was the subject, my email, name, and probably a body. There's got to be a body description somewhere. Oh, problem description, example ticket. So I really only entered this beginning stuff. Everything else is automatically pulled and sent with the ticket in case it's useful information. Again, you don't have to include that if you don't want to, but we like to have it available, and it's just so we know which device we're talking about and any information we might need to solve their problem, so we don't have to ask, hey, what is this, what is that. We'll just have it all there in case we need it. So you can see this changed to open since I responded. I don't know if you realized I didn't actually change that status, but once I responded, it automatically changed to open. So if we go to the settings for the ticketing, so the settings are in apps, or administration, apps, ticketing, and you can see all of these different settings here. For the sake of this video, we'll look at the most important thing is really the automation. So you can see all these different types of rules. So there's an activity rule, condition, script rule, event-based, time-based, response template. Take a look at some of these. So you can see some of these, once the ticket's created, we send it to Salesforce, have the status update, changes the status from new to open after the ticket's assigned. So you can just take a look at this example. So if the condition meets all of these conditions, so there's an assignee, so once it gets assigned to someone and the status equals new, then take this action, update this ticket status to open. So I was actually incorrect earlier when the reason it changed to open was because of these conditions, right? It wasn't actually the response. I think there is another one for the change from to waiting. I was saying time based, right? So there's different ones. So this is these were obviously event based, like actions. These are based on time. So this one, you can see it'll say after a period of time. So if the conditions meet all of these conditions, so time since the customer responded is less than 15 minutes, and the status equals waiting, then update the status to open. And this one, so these kind of work together probably. Technician sends first email and status changes to waiting. Right, so that's what I was saying. Once I send that first email, it changes it to waiting after 15 minutes. Must be in an open status. All these like little things to keep things organized, and the statuses to be kind of intuitive of what's going on with the ticket. You can make custom statuses, add whatever statuses, different names. And yeah, that's a general idea of the ticketing settings and feature. That's about all we were going to cover in this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.